Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to MGM Grand. It's a great weekend here as we kick off the... it should be a great weekend as we kick off UFC 141, Lesnar versus Overeem, with our press conference today.
You made it.
On behalf of our President of Sports and Entertainment for MGM Resorts International, Richard Sturm, and our President and COO, Scott Sabella, for MGM Grand, I'd like to welcome the fans, the fighters themselves, and of course the media. This weekend is a great weekend. New Year's should be a tremendous event. Right now, Overeem is a -140 favorite. Lesnar is +120. And we're concluding a successful 2011 campaign and look forward to a 2012, another year with UFC. I'd like to thank Frank and Lorenzo Fertitta, Keith Kaiser at the Nevada State Athletic Commission, and of course the president of UFC who will run the press conference today, Dana White.
What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. All right, I got to make one quick announcement here, and then we'll get into the good stuff. We just did a huge deal with Metro PCS. They're now the official wireless partner of the UFC in the United States and Puerto Rico. It's a multi-year deal that kicks off at UFC 141 this Friday, and we're going to be pumping out a ton of exclusive, unique content available only to Metro PCS customers. Now, on to the fight. Obviously, a great weekend. Big card this weekend here in Las Vegas. Happy holidays, everybody, by the way. We got Donald Cerrone versus Nate Diaz in the co-main event. And Alistair Overeem versus Brock Lesnar. All right, let's get to the media. Who's got it? First question. Raise your hand. I'll bring you a mic. Mr. Morgan. Good thing you got a mic, huh? Yeah. Keep talking.
Obviously, when guys aren't fighting for you, it doesn't give you any good to come along. But how long have you been following Alistair's career, and how long has he been a kind of target for you?
Well, you know, I'm one of those guys that talks a lot of smack to guys that aren't in the UFC, and Alistair for a long time. Listen, he's a big boy. He's done some big things out of the UFC. Now he's coming in. He's fighting Brock Lesnar. Say what you want about Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar has achieved a lot of things in the short time that he's been here. Alistair Overeem is a veteran. 205 pounds. He fought all the best in the world. And at heavyweight. Former Strikeforce champion, K1 champion, etc., etc. And this is his first fight in the UFC. You never know how good anybody is until they fight. We'll find out on Friday night. Can we get a mic that works over here? All right, who's the mic guy, man? Turn the mics on. No, try it again. This is great. All right. What's up?
I was going to ask Brock, obviously, some of your critics say that nobody likes to get punched in the face, and you always react well to getting hit. Curious if you think that's a fair criticism, and if it is, what you've done to address it.
The question was, critics always criticize Brock Lesnar saying he doesn't like to get punched in the face. Who does? And what do you have to say to that?
I just been working on trying to become the best heavyweight fighter that I can possibly be. Obviously, I've been through a lot of different things in the last couple of years. Been focused on my stand-up game. Obviously, everybody knows I'm a wrestler, and I really don't know anybody that enjoys getting hit in the face. It's not that I don't enjoy getting hit. It's just we've worked on things to try to overcome my defects and try to polish things to be the best. You got to be a well-rounded fighter in this organization, and that's all I can try to do.
And one final question for.
I think it's working. Go ahead.
Okay. One final question for Alistair. Alistair, you said you were a fan of Brock's, before you came to the UFC. Now you've gotten to spend a little time around him, filming promos and taking pictures and stuff like that. What are your impressions of him now that you've had some time around him versus what your expectations were?
Yeah, I don't really have any expectations of him. Emotionally, there's not really any emotion. All I can say, I'm trained. I feel good. My shape is there, my conditioning is there, and I'm really looking forward to fight Mr. Lesnar for this Friday.
Raise your hand. They'll bring in the mic that doesn't work.
Broke over here. Oh, it's working. See,
There you go.
Can you talk a little bit about how over you are over your health issues and how much you have put that aside to concentrate on the work, on the preparation for your fight against Alistair?
My health is 100%. The surgery was a success. If you guys follow the media, that question has been answered about 3 million times. I feel good. I'm ready, excited. Everything's in line. I just want to fight right now. That's it.
You know, you're fighting a guy who's debuting in the UFC. You were the UFC champion, the heavyweight champion, and you are the underdog. Does that add a little incentive to you for Friday night?
The underdog with a big fucking bite, all right?
Hey Dana, can you talk about the lightweight fight? The lightweight division is so filled with talent. You've been talking about it all year. Where does the win put either one of these guys as far as the title shot is concerned?
They're up there. This is a big fight in that weight division. I love this fight. I'm as excited about the co-main event as I am the main event. Both of these guys are mean. They're both nasty. They've had some words between each other, and they're both very talented, well-rounded guys. I'm looking very forward to this fight.
So nothing specific though, as far as win for Donald, win for Nate. Though
we got to see what happens. You know what I mean? They're definitely up there. I mean, they both had some big wins. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure his last fight was Gomi. He just looked incredibly impressive against Gomi, and this kid's been on a tear, man. He's been stopping everybody.
And then for Donald, I mean, you've had a terrific career. You only have 3 losses. They all came around kind of the same time frame, about 1 year, span of like 15 months. You lost those 3 fights. Is there anything you can point to that you were doing wrong? What do you attribute that kind of bad stretch for you?
Just getting my mind right. If it was, I just wasn't mentally ready. Those are big fights, title fights. I've been working with sports psychiatrists, getting everything lined up, getting my brain and my hands and everything to work together. And come Friday, it will.
What do you think about Nate as an opponent? I mean, you've gotten into the UFC. You face some tough guys. Is it safe to say that Nate is definitely the top one that you're going to face so far, though? 100%.
I've been following Nate and his brother for a long time. Those two come to fight. They're game opponents. No matter who, no matter what, they throw down. And come Friday, he will show up. I know that without doubt in my mind. He will come to fight, and it's going to be a very exciting, action-packed fight.
And then one more for you, Dana. Before the WEC merged into the UFC, there was always talk about how would those lightweights fare against UFC lightweights. Now you got Ben Henderson fighting for the title. You got Donald on a tear. I don't think you ever really thought that the WEC guys were less than the UFC guys, but has it surprised you a little bit how these guys have been able to kind of run through the division?
And it was never that thing was less. It was the lighter weight classes. I mean, basically, we didn't have the lighter weight classes the WEC did. It was never that they were lesser fighters or in a smaller league. It was a completely different. We had 55 and up. They had 55 and down. And yes, we knew, anybody who ever watched the WC knew how exciting it was, and we knew it was going to be exciting once they came into the UFC. That it? You guys done? It's over? Right here.
All right, Alistair, I think I saw that you predicted a first-round knockout in this. Why so confident?
It's more if I look at the fight analytically, the type of fighter that I am, the type of fighter that Brock is, we're not the guys that wanted to go to the second round. I mean, he's going to, judging him from his character in his previous fights, he's going to come in for the kill, and so am I. So 1 + 1 is 2.
Are you surprised you're a favorite?
No, not really, because of course, I've been cleaning house overseas. I have a lot of experience. This fight is going to be my 69th fight. I've been fighting for the last 14 years. When I was 19, I had the amount of fights that Brock has now. So I understand a little bit.
And Dana, one for you. This contrast in styles, two huge guys like this. Is this kind of like the ideal matchup?
Is it the what matchup?
Like the ideal matchup, contrast in styles, things like that.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those. This is the classic striker versus wrestler. I think that. I don't know anybody's game plan or what they're doing, but obviously Alistair is going to be looking to stay on his feet and try to knock Brock out, and Brock's going to try to get Alistair down, get him in that side control position that he does, and smash him. That's Brock's trademark move, and Alistair's is to stand up and knock you out with kicks, knees, or punches.
Question for both Cowboy and Nate. Obviously, we've heard a lot about this kind of altercation you guys had. I've heard slightly varying stories from each of you. Maybe if you could each kind of recount exactly what happened there and what that whole situation was all about. Let's start with Cowboy.
Man, the altercation was there. It's over now. Words were said. The fight's happening, man. Friday, it's on. That's all it was. I just went up to. I never met the kid. I wanted to shake his hand. I understand where he comes from. He doesn't want to be friends. He doesn't want to have any kind of interaction with any guys he fights, and that's just how he approaches different fights. At the time, I didn't realize that. I went up to shake his hand. Hey, man, nice to meet you. I've been following you for a while. So, like I said, words were exchanged. The fight signed, and Friday we're going to dance.
I think it was just made a little more than what it was. I just walked the other way, and I don't know. I came here to fight, train hard for this fight, so that's what I'm here to do.
And follow up, if I could, for Cowboy, having heard Nate kind of explain a little bit his kind of philosophy on how he doesn't like to get comfortable with any people he might fight. Did that put it in a different perspective for you? That maybe it wasn't personal to you, but that it was just kind of the way he approaches it?
Yeah, absolutely. The last couple of days, I've been the media's directed it towards me that way. But like I said, I didn't understand it at first. But if that's his way of approaching, I don't want to be friends with anybody. That's what he does. If that's what he has to do to be ready to fight. Hey, hate me, love me, I don't care. We're fighting.
This question is for Alistair. You talk about all the fights that you have had and, all the titles that you have held. But can you talk a little bit about you finally coming into the UFC? We talked a little bit last night about this being the biggest fight of your career. And, it's been a long time coming, maybe a little sooner than you expected, and not the opponent that you expected to make your debut in the UFC. Can you talk a little bit about how you've been working with all that?
What was the question exactly?
Just coming to the UFC, even though you have been part of so many events, so many title fights and everything, but you finally in the UFC.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm finally in the UFC. Basically, I already beat everybody outside of the UFC, so for me it was a logical next step. Didn't expect it to happen this soon. I thought it was going to be after the Strikeforce GP, but I got out because of an injury. So, all I can say, I'm very happy with the UFC now, the biggest promotion in the world, and my goal is that UFC belt. Brock's in the way. Friday, I'm going to beat him.
This question's for Brock. Questions for Brock and Alistair. What Dana was talking about, that we got a wrestler versus a striker, and what have you guys done to prepare? Because obviously one's going to want to take it down, the other one's want to keep it standing up. So what have you guys done to prepare differently? Obviously Alistair's want to keep it standing up. Brock wants to take you down and ground and pound.
I'll go first. Yeah, I think you should never underestimate your opponent. So I think what Brock does is pretty straightforward. I think he has got better in the stand-up because mixed martial arts is a very complete sport nowadays, and he needs to be less one-dimensional and more get a better stand-up. So, but I'm ready for wherever the fight will go. If it's gonna go to the ground, I'm ready. If it's gonna be standing, I'm ready. I'm ready.
What he said.
Yeah, okay. They asked me to stand up. Hi, Dana.
Hey.
Happy holidays.
You too.
Good to see you.
You too.
So, I know you love to talk about what guys write online and how they love to come up with theories and keyboard warrior type things. So, the theory is that you wanted Alistair to fight Brock because you wanted to embarrass him because you didn't respect, the other organizations, and that you're throwing him to the wolves and you specifically wanted him to lose. I just wanted to hear your comments on that theory.
Well, here's the thing. No matter what anybody comes up with or what their ideas, I have nothing to do with the fight. We make the fights and these guys go in and fight them. Like Alistair said, he's been fighting since he was 19 years old or before that or however long he's been fighting. He's had 69 professional fights. He's one of the best 205-pounders in the world. He's one of the best heavyweights in the world. I don't make that decision on Friday night. They do.
Right, and also just the idea though of your thinking. You had said initially that you were going to just give him a title fight, and that part of it was that Alistair wanted to fight right away. So did you want to give him the title fight because he was the Strikeforce champ, and you just wanted to unify?
He was the Strikeforce champion. He could have come in and fought for the title, but everything is determined by timing. Timing when guys get injured. Junior Dos Santos just fought, and he didn't want to wait. He wanted to fight. So we got him a fight. We brought him in, and Brock Lesnar was ready to go, and so was Alistair.
And that's great. And Alistair, I know we talked yesterday, but what do you make of that when people say that and have really, I guess maybe not paid attention to you before, but who think that this is a gimme for Brock?
He's the favorite in the fight. He's like a 1.5 favorite.
Yeah, another thing is once you start paying attention to what people write on the internet, if you start doing that, there's no end in sight. So better just focus on what you need to do. That's what I've been doing. I'm training, and let the guessing for you guys.
Thanks.
Now. Hey guys, kind of to give props to the large crowd that's been waiting hours to see you guys. Can you tell us what it's like to look out at everyone, all these fans that are here for you? Starting with you, Nate.
I'm happy everybody came out for the show. I'm glad Friday night I get to showcase my skills in front of everybody here in Vegas on New Year's Eve and represent my team, my brother, my family, and my training partner, Cesar Gracie, fight team, and the UFC. And thanks for coming out. Appreciate it.
After the last couple years of what I've gone through, and to be here, to be back fighting, to be in front of my fans and my not so fans, and it's I'm just excited to be here as everybody else, and thanks for waiting around, and we'll put on a good fight Friday night.
Well, I'm also very excited and very pleased to see so much attention, so much fans come to the press conference, and it's going to be, it promises to be absolutely fantastic this Friday.
Yeah, I'm super excited, man. Biggest show of the year, closing out the year with a bang. Everyone here in Vegas, it's going to be awesome, man. 2 stand-up warriors going out there, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Dana, earlier today, Junior Dos Santos said that he was about 10 days away from being 100%. Assuming there's no major injury to the winner of this bout, when can we anticipate a title fight?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know, and I didn't know that he was that close to being ready. But that's good news. Believe me, I got a lot of fights to do next year, so whoever the winner is from this fight comes out uninjured and, motivated to jump in and fight again right away, I'm all for it. So whatever happens, happens.
One more question. Scott Coker mentioned recently that Strikeforce is going to be focusing more on the lighter weights with the conclusion of their heavyweight tournament. Is there any...
Not more on the lighter weights. 205, 185, 170.
Okay, well, not the heavyweight.
Right.
With the conclusion of their heavyweight tournament, is there any thoughts about bringing that winner over to UFC?
Yeah, they're going to fight one more time on Showtime after that fight, and then, we'll be looking to bring some guys over here in the UFC.
Thank you.
Yep.
This question is for Brock. Brock, I have to tell you, you really impressed me on UFC on Fox on your debut. When you were a commentator, you were speaking, you were on the show, you did fantastic. I was thoroughly impressed. Do you see more TV in your future like that outside of the octagon?
Oh, yeah, he's a real bundle of joy.
And Dana, you were great as always. It was always a pleasure to see you. Of course, we are a Fox station.
Real fun and so fun being around, just spending quality time with him and hanging. You know what I mean?
Did you have fun? I mean, did you prep for it? Did you read the teleprompter? What did you do?
I've been in front of the cameras for a long time. My stint in the WWE helped groom me in many different ways other than just being in the octagon. Now this is my presence here is to showcase my skills and to showcase amateur wrestling and just as these other guys showcase kickboxing or jiu-jitsu, and they all come from different backgrounds. But I really did enjoy the Fox, the analytical side of things, and up until now, I haven't really given it much thought. I'm a fighter right now,
Gotcha.
and that's what I want to do right now.
Well, we're a Fox station, so we'll see you back on Fox January 28th. Woo!
Thank you.
Keep it close. Okay. Question for Alistair over here. Alistair, I know you're very much into titles and getting as many accolades as possible. If you do win the UFC heavyweight title at some point, I know that's a goal of yours, you will be the first British-born UFC heavyweight champion and the first Dutch champion since Bas Rutten. Is this something that you think about? Is this something that you would like to have one day on your resume?
Definitely. The UFC title would be the crown of my career, but let's not look at other things. Let's not look at Brock Lesnar. Focus on Friday, and then what comes after comes after. But the UFC title definitely is on my list.
And a question for Brock over here as well. You mentioned obviously your background in WWE, and it seems as though you've turned a corner in terms of acceptance. People no longer really refer to you as a former WWE wrestler. They call you former UFC champion. Do you still feel as though you represent that world, though, being the probably most popular guy to come over from that world into this world?
Well, I was a former WWE champion. I mean, if you've lived in a cave for the last 50 years, you probably think it's real, but it's not. Sorry, but but at the end of the day, what got me to that stage was being an amateur wrestler and being a Division I NCAA champ, and so it's just been my career, and I haven't labeled myself that. I go as Brock Lesnar, the UFC fighter, and you guys can put whatever label you want on me. I don't really give a shit.
Okay, and then just a quick one here for Donald. Yesterday at the media workouts, it sort of overlapped. When you came in, Nate was still around. Nate wasn't really happy about that and left. I was wondering if you did that on purpose. Did you try to expedite things to sort of work out in front of them? Was that sort of gamesmanship on your part, or was that just a coincidence?
No, it's just a coincidence. Brock was coming right in behind me. I was in the back. They're like, "Hey, we got to bring you out. Do you mind going out there and working out why he's out there doing?" I was like, "No, I mean." So it just happened to work out like that. Wasn't planned by any means, but shit, I don't know.
Okay. And final question for you, Donald, as well. You've talked about the mental aspect of the game and how you've sort of overcome that. You've worked with a psychiatrist. This is the highest that you've ever been on a UFC card and the most promotion you've received. How are you dealing with that mentally and not letting that get to you?
And that's the goal. That's what I've been working the hardest to get to. See if I can come alive Friday night, and everything's going good. Mentally, I'm the strongest I've ever been. Physically, I feel the strongest I've ever been. So, shit, it's time to get it.
Hi, Alon Pdut from Energy Sport Israel. First time that major Israeli media sent someone to cover this.
Right.
So there's a growing community. I don't know if you all know that, but in Israel there's a huge and growing MMA fan. So
I like it.
Yeah, it's great. And my question is actually for you, Alistair. You've been on a tear. Most of your big wins came in the first round, so I understand why you won this one to go in the first round. But in your last fight with Verdum, you kind of struggled in the third round. It seemed like you were a bit tired, even exhausted, I might say. What happened there, and can you sure it's not going to happen in this fight if it will actually come to the third round?
Well, what happened was it may seem that not a lot happened in the fight, but a lot did happen. I mean, Verdum, in my opinion, is the best grappler in MMA. He had a very nice winning streak and a very strong win over Fedor. And he's definitely not an opponent to be taken lightly. I had some issues in the preparation of the fight. I broke my foot, which hampered me in some conditioning training, some running. I couldn't run anymore. Switched to swimming though. But it was all but all, it was not optimal. And then in the fight, I broke my rib. So there were some factors. It was not the most beautiful performance, but nevertheless a dominant one. And then again, Verdum is not a guy to take lightly. He's a strong, dangerous opponent and a clever fighter as well.
Thank you.
This question is for you, Nate Diaz. Cerrone said if you stand up with him, he will knock you out. You've been standing up in a lot of fights lately, but you come from Cesar Gracie background. Do you see this fight being a stand-up war, or are you planning on taking it to the ground?
I train really hard, kickboxing, boxing all the time, and everywhere. So we're gonna have to see what happens Friday night.
And for you, Alistair, Brock Lesnar's brought in some great heavyweights like Pat Barry, and they were talking about his stand-up and how much he spent time working on his stand-up. Do you expect him to stand up with you at all, or just work for the takedown?
He will have to stand up with me because he's not going to get that takedown. And then we're going to see what his level is in the stand-up. I can tell you this, Pat Barry is not my level in the striking, though.
Close to your mouth. This question's for Brock. Brock, you just mentioned your previous involvement in the WWE. Explain to us the difference between going out to a WWE match and stepping out to a UFC match, and how that has really driven you to MMA as opposed to wrestling, because I'm assuming it wasn't money that brought you over to the UFC.
When I was in the WWE, I mean, it's show business. You know, we go out. At the end of the day, you know, people get hurt inside the ring, and we try to take care of one another in there. But I approached this kind of this. You know, I've been a competitor since I was 5 years old. I mean, I started wrestling when I was 5, and street fighting when I was probably 8, who knows? I mean, but I mean, that's all we grew up. There was nothing much else to do. Go to the next town and scrap and steal other guys' girlfriends. But you know, so I mean, I've had over 100 wrestling matches. You know, so I have I don't even know what my UFC record is. I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, we're both going to step in on Friday night, 0-0, and that's the way I approach this. You feed off of your last fight. It's over and done with. You turn the page, and life goes on. You try to become a better fighter, and that's where I'm at.
We'll take one more question here. Do any of you have any question? Then I'll open it up to the fans. Here we go.
For Dana, can you just talk about, this is the second long stretch you've had without Brock around, missing periods of action. Can you talk about what he means to the company and how important it is for him to be headlining events as far as sales and that thing?
Yeah, well, not only Brock, but the heavyweight division right now. I say it all the time. The heavyweight division is bigger and better than it's ever been, and it continues to get bigger and better. With Alistair over here now too, there's so many great fights that we can make. But yeah, I think that out of all the criticism that Brock takes from some of the fans, it would be pretty damn boring if Brock wasn't in the heavyweight division. It's exciting, it's fun when he's here. His fights are exciting, and like I said, he's a guy who's accomplished a lot of things in a short amount of time, and especially being a guy who's come over and really with the. I've said this many times, honestly, before. He came over here 1-0. Nobody walks into the UFC 1-0 and then comes in and then fights the best heavyweights in the world. We didn't throw cream puffs at him. You know what I mean? He's fought the best in the world since he's been here, and he's done pretty damn well.
As this is Alistair's introduction, really, to the American fans. As a promoter, as a company, how concerned are you that so much of the talk leading up was about the testing policies and all that leading up to, instead of introducing him to the fans here?
Yeah, it's just one of those things that happens. Listen, this guy's the most tested guy in sports right now. For those of you that know the story, he was over there. His mother was ill, and he was over in Sweden. Thing got mixed up. He came over here, did everything he was supposed to do, got tested, and here we are today.
All right. And last question for Donald. Will you try to shake Nate's hand after the fight?
Will I shake his hand after the fight? Probably not, no.
All right, I'm gonna pass the mic out to some of you fans. Here's the rules. Don't ask me for tickets. Don't ask me for anything. I'll be on Twitter tweeting tickets, and you know this. So just think of questions that you want to ask me or the fighters that do not pertain to tickets or any other crazy stuff like that. Fight questions. Raise your hand. Who's first? All right, my man.
What's your question?
You don't have the microphone. This guy does.
This is for Brock.
Okay.
We haven't heard a lot about Alistair's jiu-jitsu, and I think it's very underrated. Would you agree with that? And do you think he could get you in a guillotine, which is probably his, best maneuver, in my opinion?
We've watched all of Alistair's fights. We've studied him, and I believe that we've left no stone unturned, and I'm prepared for anything. You can't underestimate anybody. I mean, in this division and in this organization. So anything can happen at any time, and that's just the way. Somebody's going to enter the octagon and win, and somebody's got to lose. That's why you people pay big money to see who does that.
Hey, sweetie, go ahead.
Nate, is your jiu-jitsu better than the Cowboys?
We're gonna have to see. I don't know. But I train with top level jiu-jitsu guys, so.
Go Nate! Woo!
Thank you.
Yeah, I see. Go ahead, buddy.
A lot of the fights that have been advertised on Fox have been a lot of striker matches. Are you doing that purposely because you think that the general public won't really accept a lot of jiu-jitsu? And do you plan on rolling out more heavy jiu-jitsu fighters in the future?
We absolutely, positively do not even think about that when we make matches. We make the fights. The thing is, everybody asks me all these questions about the Fox deal. What about this? What about that? Fox knows what they got into. They're in a 7-year deal with us, and they know what the sport is. They know what it's about. The hardcore fans and the people who have come on over the last 4 or 5 years understand the sport, and the rest of the world will too after the next couple of years. We don't have to put on just strikers. You guys know how exciting when 2 grapplers go at it, and it's just as exciting as any knockout or any stand-up war. So no, we don't think about that stuff.
Hey Cowboy, this is for you. This will be your 5th fight in the year. So win or lose, come on Friday. You looking to get back in the cage as quick as possible and whip some more ass?
Yeah, definitely as quick as possible. Hopefully I can get out there and fight in Japan in February, so that'll be badass.
This question is for Brock. We've seen a lot from you. Obviously, athleticism, size, speed, and strength. One of the most underutilized weapons that you have is your reach. You have an 81-inch reach. That's one of the top. I believe the 84.5-inch is the longest in the UFC. So, what have you done to work on your boxing? We've seen what a reach does for John Jones. What have you done to utilize that? Obviously, your infancy, basically in your career, only 5-2, only 7 fights. This is your 8th. What have you done to work on your boxing? What have you done? Because that's just another weapon that you could really utilize, and that would be something that you'd be even harder to fight.
Like I said before, I started wrestling when I was 5 years old. It's conditioned in my DNA. Wrestling is in my DNA, and so I think just repetition of sparring and having Pat Barry in my gym and then in front of me, and being able to just condition my mind and get it in my DNA that it becomes instinctive.
Got one over here.
How you doing, Dana?
Hey, buddy.
I got a question. In light of John Jones's victory, are you still thinking about putting together a John Jones Anderson Silva super fight anytime soon?
People keep asking me that. I don't know. There's a couple other fights that have to happen in those weight classes. Obviously, Evans, the winner of Munoz versus Sonnen.
That's
so
right.
We'll see what happens down the road. I mean, the more John Jones fights, the more the more I open up to it, I guess. The kid's so young. I hate to rush anybody into anything crazy. The kid's just won the title. He's at 1 or 2 defenses. I don't know what the number is,
right.
But he gets nastier and nastier in every fight, and we'll see what happens.
Cool. Thank you, Dana.
Thank you. We'll take one more.
Yeah, this is for Brock. Hey, Brock. What do you got to do to win your fight on Saturday?
Just go out and perform to the best of my capabilities. control the fight and make it my fight. And I think that's everybody in this organization. If they can go out and be successful at their game plan, good things happen.
All right, you guys, thank you very much for your support. We appreciate it. We're going to rip this stuff out of here and face these guys off for photo ops. You guys good with that?